The numbers didn't add up. I stared at my quarterly trust statement, my hands trembling as I rechecked the balance for the 5th time. $78,000. Gone. Just gone. I'm Juliana, and until 3 months ago, I thought I had my future secured. My grandfather made sure of that before he died, or at least I thought he did. "Jules! Mom wants you downstairs for dinner." Lucian's voice boomed from the hallway, followed by the distinctive click of his camera phone. Probably another Instagram story about his entrepreneurial journey, or whatever he called his endless stream of poolside selfies. I tucked the statement into my desk drawer and headed down to our too-perfect dining room, where my mother, Carmen, was arranging the table settings with surgical precision. Everything in its place, just like our carefully curated family image. "There you are, sweetheart," she chirped, not looking up from the plates. "Your father's bringing home that wine you like." "Really?" I raised an eyebrow. "The one from grandfather's cellar?" She froze for a split second, barely noticeable, but I caught it. "Oh, no, something else. Similar, though." Lucian sprawled into his chair, scrolling through his phone. "Did you see my new post? 20,000 likes already." "Fascinating," I muttered, then cleared my throat. "Hey, Mom, I got my quarterly statement today." The front door opened and Dad strode in, briefcase in one hand, wine bottle in the other. "Evening, everyone. Lucian, son, I saw your numbers. Impressive engagement." "Thanks, Dad. I'm thinking about upgrading my equipment. Maybe a new drone?" I tried again. "About that trust statement." "Juliana, please," Mom interrupted. "Let's just have a nice dinner. You know how rare these family moments are." We ate in practiced silence until I couldn't stand it anymore. $78,000 is missing from my medical school fund. The clinking of silverware stopped. Dad took a long sip of wine. Mom suddenly became very interested in her napkin. "Oh, that!" Lucian waved his hand dismissively. "Dad's helping me with some business expenses. Building a brand isn't cheap, sis." "Business expenses," I echoed. "That money was specifically set aside for my education. Grandfather made that clear in his will." "Juliana," Dad's voice carried that warning tone I knew too well. "Your brother is establishing himself in a competitive market. These investments will pay off." "Investments?" I pulled out my phone, opening Lucian's Instagram. "Like this week-long stay at the Four Seasons, or these Gucci loafers." "Image is everything in my industry," Lucian snapped. "You wouldn't understand." Mom reached across the table, patting my hand. "Sweetheart, you're so smart. You can get loans, scholarships. Your brother needs this opportunity now." "Opportunity?" My voice cracked. "That money was my opportunity. My future." "Don't be dramatic," Dad said. "We're managing the trust as we see fit. Your grandfather understood the importance of family support." I thought back to grandfather's funeral 6 months ago, how he'd squeezed my hand the last time I saw him. "You're the only one who sees things clearly," he'd said. "If he could see us now." "Besides," Lucian smirked, "this whole doctor thing is taking forever anyway. Maybe it's not meant to be." I stood up, my chair scraping against the hardwood floor. "I need some air." "Juliana," Mom called after me, "don't be difficult." I locked myself in my room and pulled up my phone. There was Lucian's latest post, him lounging by an infinity pool, caption reading, "Living my best life. Success comes to those who dare to dream big. Blessed are our entrepreneur life, our luxury lifestyle." My phone buzzed with a text from Mom. "You're stronger than your brother. You can handle student loans. He needs our support right now. Please understand." I opened my desk drawer and took out the trust statement again, along with grandfather's last letter to me. "Trust your instincts," he'd written, "and remember, everything I've done has a purpose." Looking at those words now, I wondered if maybe, just maybe, my grandfather had seen this coming all along. And if he had, what else might he have planned? I grabbed my laptop and started documenting every withdrawal, every transfer, every business expense. Something told me I'd need this paper trail later, because one thing was becoming crystal clear. In this family, I was the disposable daughter, and it was time to show them just how expensive that mistake would be. I spent the next week gathering evidence, taking screenshots of Lucien's social media posts and matching them with trust withdrawals. Each discovery felt like another knife in my back. The timing was too perfect. Every time he posted about a business trip or investment opportunity, money vanished from my future. You need to confront them directly, Summer told me over coffee. Make them explain themselves. I tried that, I said, showing her the latest trust statement. They just gaslight me. Then make them put it in writing, text messages, emails, anything that proves they knew what they were doing. I nodded, but before I could respond, Lucien's latest Instagram story popped up. Him in our living room, surrounded by expensive camera equipment. "Time to level up the content game," his caption read. Below it, a receipt for $12,000 worth of gear. Posted the same day another chunk of my trust disappeared. I drove home rehearsing what I'd say, but when I walked in, Mom was already in crisis mode. "Juliana, thank goodness you're here. Your brother's having a meltdown about his engagement rates." I found Lucien in his room throwing things around while his camera guy, Derek, awkwardly filmed it all. "Cut," Lucien shouted us. "This isn't giving me the raw authenticity I need." Maybe because it's not authentic. I couldn't help myself. Lucien spun around. "What would you know about content creation? You're still stuck in your textbooks while I'm out here building an empire." "An empire built with my medical school fund?" Derek lowered his camera, looking uncomfortable. "Oh my God, not this again," Lucien groaned. "Derek, take 5. As Derek left, I pulled out my phone. "Let's talk about your latest equipment purchase." "What about it?" $12,000, Lucien. The same day 12,000 disappeared from my trust. He laughed. Actually laughed. "This whole doctor thing is taking you forever anyway. At least I'm putting the money to good use. It's not your money to use." "Girls, girls!" Mom appeared in the doorway. "What's all this shouting?" "Mom," I turned to her. "You have to see what they're doing. They've taken almost $80,000. "Juliana," she sighed, that martyred sigh I knew so well. "Why are you being so selfish? Your brother is trying to build something here." "Selfish? It's my future they're stealing." "No one is stealing anything," Dad's voice boomed from behind Mom. "We're redistributing family resources where they'll do the most good." "The most good?" I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Lucien hasn't made a dime from his influencer career. He's burning through my education fund for Instagram likes. "At least I'm not wasting it on some pipe dream," Lucien sneered. "Face it, sis, you're not cut out for medical school anyway." The words hit like a physical blow. I flashed back to high school when I won the state science fair. Lucien had told everyone he'd help me with the project, stealing half the credit, just like always. "You know what?" I said quietly. "You're right. I should be more supportive." They all stared at me, surprised by my sudden change in tone. "Really?" Mom looked relieved. "Of course," I smiled. "In fact, I'd love to learn more about Lucien's business model. Maybe I could help." Lucien's face lit up. "Finally, see, I knew you'd come around. Here, let me show you my content calendar." As he pulled up his planning spreadsheet, I noticed a folder labelled Expenses 2023. Perfect. Later that night, my phone buzzed with a message from Derek. "Hey, thought you should see this. Lucien's been bragging about using your trust fund as his bankroll. Got screenshots if you want them." I stared at the message for a long time, thinking about Grandfather's words again. Trust your instincts. My instincts were screaming that there was more to his will than met the eye. Tomorrow I'd find out what that was. I texted back, "Send me everything." Because if my family wanted to play games with my future, it was time to show them exactly who they were playing with. And something told me Grandfather had left me more than just money. He'd left me a way to make things right. The law office of Rice and Associates looked exactly as I remembered it from grandfather's will reading, all dark wood and leather-bound books. Josephine's assistant led me through the quiet hallway to her office. "Juliana," Josephine stood to greet me, her silver hair perfectly coiffed as always. "I was wondering when you'd come. You were expecting me." She gestured to the chair across from her desk. "Your grandfather was a very particular man. He had concerns." I pulled out my folder of evidence, screenshots, bank statements, receipts. "They've taken $78,000, Ms. Rice, for my brother's Instagram career." Josephine's expression didn't change, but her eyes narrowed slightly. "Show me everything." For the next 20 minutes, I laid out the paper trail. Lucian's posts matched perfectly with the trust withdrawals. Derek's screenshots proved they knew exactly what they were doing. "And here's the latest," I said, pulling up Lucian's story about his new penthouse down payment. "They're not even trying to hide it anymore." Josephine stood abruptly. "Wait here." She disappeared into a back room. I heard drawers opening, papers shuffling. When she returned, she carried a sealed envelope, yellowed with age. "Your grandfather left this with explicit instructions," she said, sitting down. "It was only to be opened if the trust was misused." My heart started pounding. "What's in it?" "Let's find out." She carefully broke the seal and unfolded the document inside. As she read, her professional mask cracked into something almost like satisfaction. "Oh, Isaiah," she murmured. "You clever man." "What is it?" She looked up at me. "Your grandfather included a penalty clause. If any trustee misappropriated funds for purposes other than your medical education, they become personally liable for triple the amount taken." The room seemed to spin. "Triple?" "Yes, $78,000 becomes $234,000, due immediately to be placed in a new, secure trust for your future children's education." I couldn't breathe. "But my parent, they'd have to sell assets." "Indeed." Josephine's smile was razor sharp. "And if they contest it, there's an escalation clause. $500,000 and legal forfeiture of all family-managed assets." "He knew," I whispered. "He knew they'd do this." "Your grandfather was a judge for 40 years, Juliana. He understood human nature." She leaned forward. "They didn't just steal from you. They signed a legally binding contract that sends them directly into financial ruin if they betrayed you. Can they fight it? They can try. But I have the original trust documents with their signatures. Your evidence proves willful misappropriation. It's airtight." My phone buzzed. Another Instagram notification from Lucian. "Living the dream, new home, new chapter, blah, blessed." "What do we do now?" I asked. "Now?" Josephine pulled out a fresh legal pad. "We prepare for a family meeting, but first we need to secure those digital records. Your brother seems fond of deleting things when cornered." She was right. I'd seen Lucian delete posts that didn't get enough likes. "Derek has backups of everything." "Good. Get them. All of them. Then we'll schedule the meeting." She paused, studying me. "Are you prepared for what this will do to your family?" I thought about years of being the afterthought, the reliable one, the one who could handle it. About Lucian taking and taking while I worked and waited. About Mom's dismissal and Dad's cold disdain. "They're not my family," I said quietly. "They're just people who happened to raise me. My only real family was grandfather." Josephine nodded slowly. "He knew that too. It's why he left you more than money. He left you justice." As I gathered my things to leave, she added, "One more thing, Juliana. The new trust for your future children. It specifically excludes your parents and brother from ever accessing it. Your grandfather made sure they couldn't hurt the next generation." I stepped into the sunlight, feeling lighter than I had in months. My phone buzzed again, Mom asking if I'd gotten over my tantrum about the money. Soon, I thought. Soon they'd all understand exactly what they'd done, and what it was going to cost them. The key is to act normal, Summer advised over lunch. Let them think they've won. I nodded, pushing my salad around. Josephine's setting up the trust review meeting for next week. She says we need Lucien's signed receipts to make it bulletproof. And he's already deleting posts? Like crazy. The penthouse down payment post disappeared this morning. Summer grinned. Good thing I archived everything. My phone lit up with a text from Mum. Dinner tonight. Your father and I want to discuss your attitude about the trust situation. Perfect timing, I showed Summer the message. Time to start acting. That evening I walked into another perfectly staged family dinner. Mum had even brought out grandfather's china, her go-to manipulation tactic. Juliana, Dad looked up from his phone, we need to discuss your recent behaviour. I took a deep breath and channeled every acting class I'd ever taken. Actually, I wanted to apologise. They all froze. Lucian's fork stopped halfway to his mouth. You... what? Mom asked. I've been thinking about what you said, I continued, staring at my plate. About family support and opportunities. Maybe I was being selfish. Well, Dad cleared his throat, clearly thrown off script. I'm glad you've come to your senses. Actually, I turned to Lucian, I was wondering if you could teach me about content creation. Maybe I could help with your brand. Lucian's face lit up like Christmas morning. Really? I mean, of course. I always knew you'd see the light eventually. We're so proud of you for understanding. Mom reached over to pat my hand. Family has to stick together. Over the next few days, I became the perfect supportive sister. I helped Lucian film his content, asked questions about his business strategy, and acted completely fascinated by his engagement metrics. See these receipts. He showed me his spreadsheet one evening. All business expenses, tax write-offs. I'm basically a CEO. Amazing, I said, secretly forwarding everything to Josephine. How do you keep track of it all? I have a whole system, he bragged, opening more folders. Here's all the equipment purchases, travel expenses, even the penthouse down payment documentation. Click, click, click. Each file went straight to my hidden email draft. Speaking of the penthouse, Mom breezed in, we're going furniture shopping tomorrow. Juliana, want to come? Since you're being so supportive lately. I'd love to. Later that night, I met Summer at our favourite bar. Got everything? She asked. I pulled out my laptop. Every receipt, every transfer, every single piece of evidence showing they knew exactly what they were doing with my trust fund. And they have no idea? None. Mum's literally shopping for luxury furniture while Josephine prepares the legal hammer. How are you feeling about all this? I took a long sip of my drink. You know what's crazy? Part of me hoped they'd stop once they saw me trying to understand. That maybe they'd feel guilty and make it right. But yesterday I heard Mom on the phone laughing about how I'm finally acting normal and accepting my place in the family. Summer squeezed my hand. You're doing the right thing. My phone buzzed, an email from Josephine. Documents prepared. Meeting scheduled for Thursday. Be ready. Josephine says we have everything we need, I told Summer. The trust clause is ironclad. They're about to lose everything. Good, Summer said firmly. They deserve it. Another buzz. Lucian posting a new story. Big announcements coming. This is just the beginning. Securum blessed Chaik family support. If he only knew. In less than a week, his entire world would implode, and mine would finally start making sense again. To justice, Summer raised her glass. To grandfather, I clinked mine against hers, for seeing them clearly when I couldn't. Thursday couldn't come fast enough. I had one more day of playing the repentant daughter, one more day of watching them gloat about breaking me down. Then I'd show them exactly what breaking really meant. Okay, so the key to influencer success is authenticity, Lucian explained, adjusting his ring light. Well, manufactured authenticity. I sat cross-legged on his floor pretending to take notes. How do you track all your expenses for tax purposes? I have a whole system, he he grinned, pulling up spreadsheets on his laptop. Here's everything categorized: travel, equipment, lifestyle maintenance. Dad helped me set it up. Smart, I nodded, secretly photographing the screen with my phone. And the trust fund covers all this? Obviously. Can't build an empire without capital. He paused his preening to look at me. You're really getting into this, huh? Just trying to understand the family business, I smiled. Hey, what about those contracts with your sponsors? Oh, let me show you. He pulled up more folders, each one a goldmine of evidence. My phone buzzed, a text from Mom. Lucian says you're really embracing his world, having lunch with the country club ladies today. They'll be so pleased to hear you've come around. Perfect. Let them brag. Jules, Lucian called, help me film this unboxing. Just got new gear. I positioned myself behind his camera, watching him perform his authentic excitement over products bought with my future. Don't forget to mention how you funded it, I suggested innocently. Your followers love transparency. Good point. Shout out to family support, am I right? He winked at the camera. When you have people who believe in your vision, every word was another nail in his coffin. Later that afternoon, I met Josephine at her office. Look at this, I handed over my phone. Every transaction, every purchase, all documented in his own spreadsheets. She scrolled through the evidence, her smile growing. And your father helped create these records. His digital signature is on everything, Mum's too. Perfect. Josephine pulled out a thick folder. The trust review meeting is tomorrow at 2 p.m. I've told them it's about restructuring the fund to better support family enterprises. Will they suspect anything? People like your family rarely suspect consequences. They're too convinced of their own righteousness. As if on cue, my phone lit up with Lucian's latest post. Another day of building the dream. Grateful for a family that understands success takes investment. Hark a blessed San'am family first. They're going furniture shopping for his penthouse today, I told Josephine, using my trust fund for the deposits. Let them, she said calmly. Every dollar they take now just increases the penalty later. I left her office and drove to grandfather's grave. The late afternoon sun cast long shadows across the headstone. I wish you could see this, I whispered. Actually, maybe you can. You planned it all, didn't you? My phone buzzed again. Mum sharing photos of expensive furniture in their group chat. Perfect for Lucian's new living room, so proud of our boy's success. I added the screenshots to my evidence folder. Tomorrow, that furniture would become part of their debt. One final text came through from Derek. Hey, got those backup files you wanted. Every post, every story, every deleted moment from the past 6 months. Even the ones where he brags about using your money. Send everything, I replied. That night, I could barely sleep. Tomorrow would change everything. Part of me felt sick about what was coming, not for them, but for the little girl who once believed in family. But that little girl was gone. They'd killed her bit by bit, year after year. My phone lit up one last time, Dad in the family chat. Proud of how you've matured, Juliana. Tomorrow's meeting will set everything right. Family always comes first. Yes, I typed back. It certainly does. I thought about grandfather's words again. Trust your instincts. He'd known all along what they were capable of. Known they'd try to steal my future, and he'd armed me with exactly what I needed to take it back. Tomorrow they'd learn what real family loyalty looked like. And it would cost them everything. I set my alarm and closed my eyes, dreaming of justice. The conference room at Rice & Associates felt smaller than I remembered. My family arrived exactly on time, dressed for success. Mom in her pearls, Dad in his power suit, Lucian filming everything for his business meeting content. Put the phone away, Dad snapped at him. This is serious. Josephine entered carrying a thick folder. Her face revealed nothing. Thank you all for coming, she began, taking her seat. We're here to discuss the Isaiah Trust, specifically regarding recent allocations. Yes, Mom smiled brightly. We've been investing in Lucian's growing enterprise. Very exciting opportunities. I see. Josephine opened the folder. And these opportunities required $78,000 from a trust explicitly designated for medical school expenses. The temperature in the room seemed to drop. Now wait a minute, Dad straightened in his chair. We're the trustees, we have discretion. Shall I read the exact terms? Josephine pulled out a document. The trust is, quote, solely and exclusively for the medical education of my granddaughter, Juliana. That's just legal language. Lucian waved his hand. Family resources should be flexible. Interesting perspective. Josephine pulled out another paper. Would you like to explain these expense reports? Designer clothes, luxury vacations, a penthouse down payment? Mom's smile faltered. We were diversifying investments. There's more, Josephine continued. Your grandfather anticipated potential misconduct. He included a special clause. What clause? Dad demanded. I read that trust document thoroughly. Did you? Page 17, Section B, Paragraph 3. Josephine began reading. In the event of misappropriation of funds by trustees, a penalty of triple the misused amount shall be immediately due from the trustees' personal assets. The colour drained from my parents' faces. Triple? Lucian laughed nervously. That's not real. $78,000 becomes $234,000, Josephine stated flatly. Due within 30 days to be placed in a new trust for Juliana's future children. This is ridiculous, Dad slammed his hand on the table. We'll fight this. You can try. Josephine's smile was arctic. But there's an escalation clause. Contest it, and the penalty becomes $500,000, plus legal forfeiture of all family-managed assets. Mom started crying. We only wanted what was best for the family. Best for the family, I finally spoke. Or best for Lucian. Jules, Lucian turned to me. You said you understood. You were helping me with content. I understood perfectly. I nodded to Josephine, who started playing a video on the conference room screen. Lucian bragging about using my trust fund as his personal bankroll. Where did you get that? He gasped. Your camera guy keeps good records, I said quietly. So did Grandfather. This is your fault, Dad pointed at Lucian. Your ridiculous influencer dreams. My fault? Lucian stood up. You signed off on everything. You managed the accounts. Please, Mom sobbed. There must be some way to fix this. There is. Josephine pushed a document forward. Pay the penalty amount within 30 days or we proceed with legal action. We'd have to sell the lake house, Dad muttered. Maybe the investment property too. This will ruin us, Mom whispered, like you tried to ruin my future. I stood up slowly. Every time you took money from my trust, you signed your own destruction. Grandfather made sure of it. You planned this, Lucian accused. You pretended to support me just to gather evidence. I learned from the best, I replied. Isn't that what you call it? Manufactured authenticity? Josephine cleared her throat. You have 30 days to transfer the full amount. After that, we proceed with the escalation clause and asset forfeiture. Juliana, Mom reached for my hand. We're family. I pulled away. No, family doesn't steal from family. Family doesn't destroy someone's dreams for Instagram likes. This meeting is over, Josephine announced. I suggest you all contact your financial advisors immediately. As they filed out, broken and shocked, Lucian turned back. You're tearing this family apart. I met his eyes steadily. No, Lucian, I'm finally putting it back together, without the rot. The door closed behind them, leaving me alone with the echo of justice. The next 3 weeks unfolded like a slow-motion car crash. Mum called daily, alternating between tearful pleas and angry accusations. Dad sent threatening emails that Josephine collected as evidence. Lucian's Instagram went dark. They listed the lake house, Summer told me over coffee, and Dad's investment property downtown. How do you know? My mum's a realtor, remember. They're trying to sell fast, way below market value. My phone buzzed. Another voicemail from Mum. Please, sweetheart, we can work this out as a family. Your father's blood pressure. I deleted it without listening further. That afternoon, Lucian showed up at my apartment unannounced. You have to stop this, he demanded, pushing past me into the living room. Do you know what you're doing to them? Funny, you never asked what you were doing to me. It was just money. He ran his hands through his dishevelled hair. Just stupid money. It was my future, Lucian. My dream. Dreams change. Look at me. I had to give up my penthouse deposit. My sponsors are dropping me because I can't maintain my lifestyle content. I laughed without humour. You mean you can't maintain the lifestyle you stole from me? I'm your brother. He grabbed my shoulders. Doesn't that mean anything? I shrugged him off. It meant something to me. Did it ever mean anything to you? His face crumpled. They're selling everything, Jules. Dad's talking about taking out loans. Mum can't stop crying. They have 7 days left to pay the penalty, I said quietly. Or it gets worse. Worse? How could it get worse? $500,000 and legal forfeiture of all assets. Grandfather was very thorough. Lucian sank onto my couch. He must have hated us. No, I sat across from him. He loved me enough to protect me from you. The next day, Dad called an emergency family meeting at their house. The living room felt different, emptier. The expensive art was gone from the walls. We've sold both properties, Dad announced, looking older than I'd ever seen him. Below market value, but it's done. We can pay the penalty amount. Mom wouldn't look at me. We had to take a second mortgage on the house. What about my business? Lucian demanded. Your business? Dad exploded. Your business is what got us here. Prancing around on social media, wasting real money on fake success. Ray, please, Mom whispered. Your blood pressure. No, Carmen, look at us. We've lost everything because we spoiled him rotten. Lucian jumped up. This is Juliana's fault. She's the one who... Who what? I cut in. Who expected you to honour grandfather's wishes? Who trusted her family to protect her future? You could have talked to us, Mom said softly. I did talk to you. For months. You told me to get loans, to understand, to be stronger. Well, this is me being stronger. Dad pulled out an envelope. Here. The bank transfer is scheduled for tomorrow, $234,000, as demanded. The money goes directly to the new trust, I reminded them, for my future children's education. A trust you can never touch. We know, Mom's voice broke. We read the terms. Lucian stormed out, slamming the door. Through the window I watched him kick his luxury car, soon to be repossessed, probably. Was it worth it? Dad asked bitterly. Destroying your family for money. I stood up slowly. You destroyed this family the moment you decided my dreams meant nothing, the moment you chose his Instagram fantasy over my real future. Juliana, Mom reached for me. No, I stepped back. You taught me an important lesson. Family isn't about blood. It's about choices, and you made yours. I walked to the door, then turned back one last time. Grandfather knew you'd do this. He knew you'd choose Lucian over me, like always. That's why he gave me a way to fight back. And now, Dad's voice was hollow, now you live with your choices, just like I've had to live with them my entire life. I left them there, surrounded by empty walls and consequences. In my car, I finally let myself cry. Not for them, but for the family we could have been if they'd loved me even half as much as they loved Lucian. The acceptance letter from medical school felt heavy in my hands as I walked through the cemetery gates. Fall leaves crunched under my feet as I made my way to Grandfather's grave. I got in, I said, placing fresh flowers beside his headstone. Full ride, actually. Turns out maintaining a 4.0 while working part-time impressed them. A cool breeze rustled the trees. Lucian filed for bankruptcy yesterday, I continued. His last Instagram post was him selling his designer clothes. Mom and Dad still won't speak to me, but Summer says they're trying to sell the house now. Turns out a second mortgage wasn't the answer. My phone buzzed. A text from Josephine. Trust transfer complete. New account established for future education fund. Completely secure. You knew, didn't you? I touched the cold stone. You watched them favour him our whole lives. Watched them dismiss my dreams. So you built me an escape hatch. Another buzz. Derek sending me Lucian's latest attempt at content creation. A humble video about starting over and learning life lessons. The comments were brutal. The funny thing is, I said to the granite, I thought revenge would feel better, more satisfying, but it just feels clean, like lancing an infection. A familiar voice behind me made me turn. That's because revenge wasn't the point. Josephine stood there, elegant as always in her charcoal suit. What do you mean? She walked closer, placing her own flower on the grave. Isaiah never wanted revenge. He wanted justice. And, more importantly, he wanted you free. Free from their expectations, their limitations, their twisted version of family. She smiled slightly. He left you more than money, Juliana. He left you a choice. I thought about that, about all the choices that had led here. Did you know? I asked when he added that clause. I helped him write it. He said, they'll try to steal her future to feed that boy's ego. Make sure she has weapons to fight back. My phone buzzed again. Mum, probably with another guilt trip text. I declined the call. The new trust, I said, the one for my future children. Why did he do that? Because he believed in generational justice. He wanted to make sure they couldn't hurt the next generation the way they hurt you. Josephine straightened her jacket. He broke the cycle. I keep waiting to feel guilty, I admitted, about their house, their assets. Don't. They made adult choices. They're facing adult consequences. A groundskeeper nearby was clearing fallen leaves, making space for new growth. Somehow it felt symbolic. I got into medical school, I told her. Isaiah would be proud. She paused. Not because of the school, because you fought for yourself. My phone buzzed one final time, Summer sending me apartment listings near the medical campus. Real future plans, not Instagram dreams. You know what's strange? I looked at grandfather's name etched in stone. They kept saying I was destroying the family, but this feels like the first time I'm actually building something real. That's because you are. Josephine touched my shoulder. Your grandfather used to say, some people confuse family with chains. He wanted you to break free. The setting sun cast long shadows across the graves, but for once I wasn't standing in anyone's shadow. I should go, I said. I have to finish my housing applications. Of course. Josephine stepped back. Oh, and Juliana, Isaiah left one more thing for you. A letter. I was supposed to give it to you once everything was settled. She handed me an envelope yellowed with age. Inside, in grandfather's firm handwriting, my dearest Juliana, if you're reading this, you found your strength. Remember, family isn't who shares your blood. It's who shares your values. Build your future, heal, succeed. And when you have children of your own, show them what real love looks like. I'm proud of you. Grandfather. I carefully folded the letter and looked at his grave one last time. Thank you, I whispered, not just for the money or the justice, but for showing me what real family should be. I didn't destroy my family, they did that themselves. I just built something better from the ruins.